Hey everyone, welcome to the Microburst 600 side-by-side build. This will be the fifth off-road vehicle that I've built, and I'm really excited about this one. This is going to be the first side-by-side that I've ever built, and by far the best one that I've ever built. So first thing I'm doing here, before I start any work these days, what I do is I model out exactly what I plan on building. So the program I like to use for 3D modeling is called SketchUp. Now this is a free software tool for you to download, and it works really good. So as you can see here, I'm modeling everything that's going to be on this off-road vehicle. Check that out. Does that not look great or what? Now once you get this thing modeled in 3D, what I always do is I start modeling this thing in 2D, because I'm going to start cutting out all these plates either by sending it out to the laser cutters or making this stuff on my milling machine or on my lathe. So the program I like to use for 2D work is called DraftSite. Now this is another free download that you can get. I've used this many times, and you can create files that are compatible with the formats that the water jet or the laser cutter guys are going to use. So I highly recommend you use this program as well. This one has a much steeper learning curve compared to SketchUp, but once you get the hang of it, it's incredibly powerful and you'll learn to love it. Now this time around I knew I wanted four-wheel drive. The trails I drive on around here, it's an absolute necessity sometimes just to make it through. So what I did, I went on Kijiji, started looking around, and I found a guy. He had a 2009 Polaris RZR 800 that he had blown the engine on it, and he was selling everything off. So I went down and I bought the complete drivetrain off this guy, as well as a lot of the other parts like the seats, steering wheel, gas tank, rad, all kinds of stuff. So I've got all these great parts now. It's going to save me a lot of fabrication time, and I'm going to get the four-wheel drive that I wanted. The power plant for this side-by-side is a 2002 GSXR Suzuki street bike engine, as you can see here. It's fuel injected, produces 115 horsepower, 50 foot-pound of torque, and has a red line of 14,500 RPM. Says a 6-speed transmission. And this is going to make a real nice power plant for this machine. Okay, so to soak up the bumps on this, I'm using a set of Fox air shocks. These are fully adjustable, compression, rebound, and I can set the pressure to whatever I want for the spring rate that I want. So the rear I have 14-inch lengths, and for the front I'm using 10-inch. These things are going to be great. For tires, I picked up a set of 30-inch CST Behemoth tires. These things are absolutely great, 8-ply, they're going to be very durable, and I'm putting that on a set of 15-inch aluminum rims I have. Now I've been going a little bit crazy here. I went and bought myself a powder coating kit, and I've just been powder coating everything. So I've got these great red powder coated rims, red powder coated calipers, and I've been powder coating the hubs and everything. This thing is going to look absolutely fantastic when I'm done. Okay, that's enough of me talking. Let's get out to the shop, let's start cutting and welding some steel. So what I'm doing now, I have these tubes, and these are going to be the suspension, bushing pivot points, and I have them rough cut with my bandsaw. What I'm going to do now is turn them down, face them, and get them to the correct length. Alright, I got 16 to do. So this is 3.5, 3499. That's pretty close. 3499, can you see that? Yeah, there we go. That's good enough for this thing. Alright, next up for the suspension bushings, I need to make the actual bushings themselves. So I'm going to make it out of this material here. It's called Delrin, some kind of a hard plastic. So what I'm going to do is machine the bushings out of that, That's what it's going to look like right there. And I need to make 32 of these guys. So I'm going to start turning them. Alright, look at that. One down, 31 to go. Alright, so finally got those bushings done. 32 of them. I even had enough extra for a spare. Man, that's a lot of bushings. Turning that on a manual lathe. That took me many hours. It turned out good though. Well, they're all pretty accurate. Within a few thou of each other. And then what they'll do is they'll press into the ends of that tube for my suspension bushings. So that's one big job done. So I have all the lengths cut here. Now what I'm doing is I'm just setting my machine up so I can start cutting the angles. I like doing it in 2 stages. I find I can get the lengths much more accurate when I cut it straight, and then I come in here, set it up the proper angle, and then cut it all. So I'm gonna get the machine set up and I'll start cutting all these guys. Time to actually start putting some of these pieces together. So what I'm going to start with is the rear section. So I've got everything all prepped that I need. I have the suspension pivot tubes. I'm going to use that as spacers. These ones I left oversized so that they actually include the width of the bushings. So those are 3.5 inches instead of the finished size. I've got the plates I'm going to use, sections of tubing that are going to make up the frame. These are spacers that I made to keep the middle section spread the correct length apart. 1/2 inch threaded rod and some nuts. So I'm going to start assembling the whole thing, and then what I'll do once I have it assembled, I'm going to put the rear transmission in place just to make sure I don't have any fitment or clearance issues, and then I can start tack welding the thing together. That's kind of approximately where that rear transmission is going to sit. You can see the reason I haven't made the bar, this top bar on this side yet, is because there's definitely a clearance problem there. So I'm going to have to, not sure how I'm going to do that. If I'm going to come out and around or up and over, the engine has to sit on top of here. And you can see down in here, you know, there's a good inch so far. Might even be a bit more once I tighten everything up. But that's about approximately where the diff's going to sit in there. Well folks, hope you enjoyed this episode so far. Thanks for tuning in and watching these videos. I hope you enjoy this project and it's got you interested in it. Stay tuned, make sure you subscribe to these videos. Next week we're going to finish this rear suspension up and start working on the bottom section of the frame, and maybe even start tackling the front suspension. Alright, thanks folks, take care.